everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you my purchases from the Dior Riviera 2025 collection. Most of this is limited edition, including the two eyeshadows and a rather lovely luminizer. So I will show you those as well as the lip products that I bought. So please watch on. So here's the first of the eyeshadow palettes. This one is Pink Riviera. It's described as a bright pink and a range of cool shades for a captivating look. Now, I should also tell you that the eye palettes are adorned for the first time with the iconic Toile de Jouy motif. Delicate details of the pattern are revealed by the luminous bronze pearlescent pigments in the powder. And here are the swatches. The four colours and then the actually very vibrant pink for Dior underneath. You can see there the luminescence. I mean, I should tell you that the coating just by one swatch now, swatching for the first time, has started to come off the luminous goldy bronzy shade. So it's very much a superficial coating. But actually I think those colours are rather lovely. And that pink, as I say, surprisingly vibrant, I would say. So that is Pink Riviera. And here we have Coral Riviera, which is described as a vibrant coral accompanied by warm tones for a luminous, defined look. And again, you're seeing the delicate details of the pattern revealed by the luminous bronze pearlescent pigments. And here are the swatches. The four shades around the pop shade, which is the coral shade. Quite muted, and then the coral shade on top. Here is the new luminizer in 04 Coral Glow, and that's what it looks like. I was extremely tempted by this. I've got high hopes of this. I hope I'm not disappointed. Also limited edition, like the eyeshadows, duochrome coral shade, evoking the sun's golden glow. I really have got high hopes. Let's give this a little swatch. Oh, that's nice. And it's very smooth. Just as I run my fingers across it, it's a very smooth finish. I'd like to see what that looks like on the cheeks on a tan skin. Let's see how versatile it is. And here is the Dior Addict Lip Glow Oil. I chose Pink Pop out of the three colours. There's a very watery blue shade and a shade that they describe as lemon that also looks quite watery. This doesn't have much pigment at all, goodness me. I expected a little bit more, even for the lip oils. I'm not a huge fan of these, but they're just expensive, I think, for what they are, but they're certainly a pleasure to use, and the doe foot's just really nice. This is £33, $40. And here we have Dior Addict Lip Maximizer in Garnet Fizz. Let me show you the shade. I do like these. That's a good shade. That's going to be quite a versatile shade as well. Won't be something I'll be left with at the end of summer thinking, oh, when am I going to wear that? So in the interest of not taking up too much of your time, I was just putting on the Pink Riviera on my eyes, and I was going to do a look and just show you what it looks like on my dark grapey lids. But here's the thing, this is why I've interrupted myself. These are surprisingly pigmented for Dior, actually, and I just want to say, as my eyes are dark, the skin on my eyes are dark, I've just put a little bit of base on, but that's it. But look how well this shows up, and I didn't put very much. I mean, I just touched the pink, and it's just, that's a lot of pigment, really, for Dior. So that fills me with hope, because I like a good bit of pigment, but it's not essential. But I just wanted to say to you that this shade here, this is really nice as a one and done, if you're that person. Look at that lovely sheen. It's not shimmery, but there's a lovely sheen to that. That just on the lid is just going to be lovely. So I did want to point that out to you. And also the lighter colour, I just wanted to show you before I put it on my dark lids. Look how lovely that is in terms of the sheen. If you just want a very simple look. I'm surprised by this. I'm surprised by the pigment. I really am. So I just wanted to interrupt myself and tell you that. I'll finish the look and then I'll show you. Now, this is the finished eye look with the pink. Now, this is what it looks like. I can bring you in. This is actually nicer than I expected. I thought it was going to be very muted, but actually it doesn't have to be. So that's a good thing. Now, I am interested in this luminizer. And actually, I have not bothered buying the other luminizers because they just looked a bit pale. And then by the time they were in store and I looked at them, I was just completely underwhelmed. And frankly, how much are they? £53, $55. Too much money to be disappointed. But this one has piqued my interest. So what I've done, I haven't bought any of the bronzers because they don't look new to me. I'm not convinced they're going to be a deeper colour. The colours seem very similar to last summer. So what I've done is I've just used my normal 04 in this, which I do like, and it's got enough pigment for me. So I've just put a little bit here, but let's put this on top. I'm not putting any blusher on just to see what it's like. Here goes. Tell you what, I'll bring you closer. Give it a. Okay, so there's a pleasing amount of sheen to that. It is quite glittery. It's not very glittery, but it is quite glittery. I'm happy with that. I would like to know what it's like actually over a bit of blusher, so I might put a bit of blusher on so we can do one-on-one, but that's what it looks like. Now, I have to say, I've got eyeshadow on already, but I would be tempted on holiday to put a little bit of the old bronzer and then put this on top, and I think that would be absolutely cracking. So let's put a bit of blusher on. I'll just stick with something that's a bit more corally, just because this is a coral shade. So you can see the luminizer, even though it is called Coral Glow, there's not that much coral in it. I mean, it's on what they say is it's pearlescent micropigments that shine with crystalline brilliance in a clear gel base, and I think that's the key thing. It's clear with a bit of with the luminescence running through it, and a little bit of coral in it, but it's not really pigmented. So you'll need something underneath. That's why I'm wondering whether I need something underneath. And certainly if you're a dark skin tone, you'll need that. Dior's not great for dark skin tones, and they clearly don't want to be. But anyway, just to show you the difference. So let's put a little bit of this and see what that looks like. Okay, so we've got the coral clash, and now let's go. So this is, there's no doubt about it, this is shimmery. So if you've got texture, I'm not sure it would really show up the texture, but it'll show up a bit. It's not really showing up my lines, even though the shimmer's there. And then I think it looks, I prefer it actually with blusher just for myself, for my own personal preference. But that's what it looks like. It feels to me like it's a bit less shimmery once you put blusher on, but I might be, no, that's not true. It's just a different look. So that's what that looks like. I do like it. I wish they'd come out with a pinky one, I have to say. And I thought this at the time because when I looked on the website, I was really excited by this. And then I looked for the pink version thinking I'll get both. Let's see, but maybe this is more universal. So let's try the lip oil because that's the bright pink shade. And while I know there's not a lot of pigment, let's see how it performs on the lips. Yeah, not a lot of pigment, but it is nice. I just don't think it's £33, $40 nice. That's what I think. Okay, so that's the look with the pink Riviera, the pink pop, and the luminizer, which is pink on the outside, but coral on the inside. I actually really like these eyeshadows. So let's try Coral Riviera. I'm quite excited about this one. Actually, of the two palettes, this was the one I was most excited about because I am on a bit of a quest on an apricot corally eyeshadow range. So let's see. That's lovely. And I should say that the luminous bronzy pattern is really coming off immediately. In other words, this is the first time, actually apart from the swatches with you just before, this is the second time, and yeah, I mean you can see, if I show you, can you see on the brown on this one, it's gone completely. So it really is just a coating. I mean a very lovely coating, but a coating nonetheless. Okay, so it's very much that this is a look I quite like. That sunsetty look and sunsetty shades. These, I have to say, they don't seem as pigmented. In other words, these seem as more standard Dior pigments than the pink Riviera. That's what it seems like to me, just because I've got dark eyes and even with the darkest shade, the brown, I had to give it a few goes. But obviously they're going on smoothly, there's no fallout. It's the usual deal with Dior. They don't disappoint from a quality point of view. Yeah, I know, I don't want to go down the route of, yes, they were so much better in the old formula, but we are where we are. This is rather nice. Let's just finish off the look and then we can see. So this is what it looks like without using the coral shade in the center. So this is just very much the four surrounding shades. So now let's put that pop of color on the lid. See, oh, that's very nice. And what I'll do is I'm going to use this brown, dark brown. Let's see if I can get a liner out of it. I may not be able to, but let's give it a go. So I've got my little Refa 29, and actually if I use that, then I can get that. It's not terribly dark, but it might be enough. Now, the other thing I should say is I have put some YSL Coral Clash on my cheeks because I want to try the Luminizer on the blusher on both sides and actually really see what happens to my texture when I do both sides of the face, just to see. I've got different types of texture on each one. One side's more lined and surface lines and dryness, and the other one seems to have more pores, I suppose. I mean, presumably it's pores, it's skin, but yeah, I mean, it's not great as an eyeliner. It's not really dark enough, but let's see. This palette is definitely more Dior-like, more subtle than the pink. I won't say it's disappointing. It is. I mean, if you loved your eyeshadows, there's nothing to not like about these because they're doing exactly what I would expect Dior to do. And actually, for me, this is why I like Dior, even though I don't get the pigment and the real shimmer that I like most of the time. I do find it very office friendly, very work friendly. Just if I'm going somewhere which is a little bit more, it's just a little bit more conservative, or I was going to say sedate, but just more conservative, then Dior shadows don't disappoint. And also, I have to say, they stay my hand from going a bit too glitzy and shimmery. So from that point of view, I find I can't overdo it. That's what I would say. But with the pink Riviera that I used before, I think you can definitely get a high finish if you want to. With this, as I said, it's more Dior-like. Yeah, and I am feeling I have to apply a bit more to keep it going. Just give it a bit more depth, and then I'll go off and put some mascara on, and then we'll try the Luminizer and the Garnet Glow, and I'll be back. Okay, so let me bring you in. This is the eyeshadow. I've had to work quite hard to get it to show up properly on my eyes, I have to say. But anyway, take a look. I think this is the less remarkable palette in the sense that it does very much what Dior does. Beautiful, soft, blendable shades, but I think it's quite unremarkable. I mean, I did find myself thinking, well, this isn't giving me my coral apricot-y fix that I really want. But over to you, because it may well be that this is something that you are looking for. It's just that these are £61. So is this the best use of £61 for these shades? Yeah, I mean, that's a personal thing, but for my preference, this is the weaker of the two palettes. So I've put my mascara on, as you can see. I've got the Coral Clash. Let's try this little number on top of a proper application of blusher, because this is never going to be enough for me to be a blusher. Certainly if you're a fairer skin tone, then it may well be, but for me it won't be. But I did want to see how it performed properly on texture with me applying it over my normal blush with proper amounts, not like I did before. I do like it, I have to say. I mean, this, I shouldn't have been quite so gung-ho, frankly, for here. But if I look at actually where it goes, I think that's not, I use, the one that I use is the Hindash, this one here, which I do really like, but it's not got enough pink or peach in it for me to not be a bit frustrated that I'm not quite getting that hit. It looks like this, and actually gives you the promise that you're going to get a peachy tone, but even when I go to the most peachy bit of the compact, that's what I get. Hang on, let me compare it for you with the Dior Luminizer. Yeah, look. So the Dior Luminizer at the bottom is much more peachy. I mean, they call it coral. Yeah, all right, coral or peach, compared to the Hindash. But the thing about the Hindash is you can see your cheekbones from the moon, if anybody was so interested. Whereas this, I would say, is more subtle. Subtle in a good way, because if I'm going to put it on top of blusher and on top of a tan, I think that's going to be enough. But I just thought it was worth showing you. And as I said, I think if you're a lighter skin tone, maybe it will double up as blusher for you, but I don't know. And if you're a darker skin tone, you're definitely going to need something underneath. If you're darker than me, you're definitely going to need something underneath. So now onto the final product, which is Garnet Fizz. I think I called it something else. Anyway, so let's give this a go. I was excited about this. I quite like this. I think with the eyeshadow, it's a nice combination because the eyeshadows are so soft. Plus, I have to say, what I like about these is, on me at least, they do last. Whereas the problem with the lip oils, as lovely as they are, because there's just not enough pigment, as I go through the day, it looks more washed out. So for a context where I need to look a bit more polished, this isn't it. This is much more put it in your jean pocket and go about your day. Whereas this is more work friendly, Zoom friendly, all that stuff. Yeah, no, I like this. I don't know what you think, but I do like it. This is an enormous range. There are 3 new shades, I think, of this. There are 3 shades, as I said, of these. And there's also the bronzers, which, as I said, I just didn't want to go near because they're just too pale and it's just a waste of money. So that is the finished look on the Coral Riviera side. So let's go on to my final thoughts. So I've been surprised by this collection. It's not worked out the way I expected it to. I thought I'd be really excited about the Coral Riviera, and I'm slightly underwhelmed actually. It's just for me, it's quite a quote unquote ordinary Dior palette in that it's lovely and soft, it performs nicely, it's fine, but it's not got that pigment and that, not so much the drama, but it's quite hard for me to enhance and shape my eye because the colours aren't really pigmented enough, the shades aren't pigmented enough. As pretty as they are, this is not the apricot peachy palette that I'm looking for. I'm still on the hunt, but this isn't the one. Just to show you though that the luminous bronze pearlized pattern of the Toile de Jouy has pretty much completely come off just with the swatching and the one application. It's important that you could that just because they look so enticing, they really do, but it's a short-lived pleasure because it just goes. The revelation, however, is the Pink Riviera. Now, I had to use less product. You can see there is a bit of the bronzy pearlescent pigment left, but again, not much. But this is, for me, this is going to be a more versatile palette, and actually almost worth the price, just because there's a couple of good one and done shades for me. So this is the thing I'll take on a train journey with me when I'm doing my makeup on the train, because it's just really easy. And there's a mirror, just saying, you do get a mirror for that price. That's really good. In terms of the luminizer, I really like it. My frustration is I'd like a pink one as well, but you can't have everything. But I do like it. I like the finish. This beautiful Toile de Jouy fabric is going to last about 5 minutes in my makeup bag, but it is lovely nonetheless. So if we want to channel our inner Marie Antoinette, this is it, because she was a fan of the old Toile de Jouy. That's the only thing I remember from going to Versailles on a school trip. But I do think it's a really lovely luminizer. It's got enough shimmer and pearlescence to it for me to get my luminizer fix, but it's not as shiny and clumpy, not clumpy, chunky as others have been. So that's good. As I said, I could do with a pink one, and maybe a pink one with a bit more pigment in as well. It would be rather nice, wouldn't it, not to have to rely on having to wear a blusher underneath, but you can't have everything. This is very nice. I think this is worth the money, actually. I really do. I do think it's worth the money. In terms of the 2 lip products, I would say the lip oil performed the way I expect the Dior lip oils to perform. I will use it. It's just that I just happen not to be a great fan of the formula itself and for the cost of it. This I really like. I mean, as I look at myself on the camera, I like the colour. I like these products anyway, but I just think it's a good colour. It's a wearable colour, and it's not too light, and there's not shimmer in it. For me, it's a dead-on really good product, so I will be using this. And in fact, I'm on a trip tomorrow, and I will be taking it with me. So I am pleased. I will say that these products, a lot of it is about the way they look and how attractive and mouth-watering the packaging is, the finish of them is. It's a bit like the luminizer. it's got this patina, but the patina is not just patina. It does look like it's all the way through, because actually I've applied quite a bit of this now, and I'm still getting, however much I'm doing that, I'm still getting the same level of shimmer and sheen. So I would say that looks like it goes all the way through. And actually from the description, I'm just reading here what I've written: pearlescent micropigments that are suspended in the clear gel base. So you are going to get this all the way through. What you're not getting is the same thing in the eyeshadow. It really is just packaging. So it's worth remembering, because these have been made to look as beautiful and as mouth-watering as possible, and it doesn't last. So you need to swatch them and be sure that you actually really like the shade. So it's probably worth waiting to actually, if not watching more reviews, certainly waiting to be in store, and if you can, and if you've got that luxury to be able to go and swatch and actually have a look, if you're not a die-hard Dior person, in which case you would want to give these a go anyway. For me, they have a place in my life, Dior eyeshadows. I'm still pleased I've got them. It's just that I'm going to use one more than the second more often, and certainly the lips have been a useful exercise. But for me, this is the one. Thank you so much for joining me. As ever, I do appreciate it. I'd love to hear from you. What do you love from Dior? And are you going to go for any of these? But I'd really love to hear, and actually of the eyeshadows, what's your favourite eyeshadow? What's your favourite Dior quint? I actually love the singles. I love the Dior singles, the metallics. They're the ones that I love. And there are some quints that I love. I love the green one and cashmere. And there's another one that was it Grand Bal that was out last year or the year before? There are lots that I do love and I still have in my collection and I still use, but I would love to hear from you. So do let me know. Thank you so much for joining me. Do give me a thumbs up and please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.